What's going on, everybody? Let's talk tonight about collections and how you collect your money, how you ask for your money, how you're invoicing for your money. So, obviously, if you're a residential contractor, you want to get paid immediately. If you're a commercial contractor, you need to expect to wait 90 days for any large company to pay you. Now, if that intimidates you, if you can't wait the 90 days, you're just not ready yet. Don't take on these projects with these customers who aren't going to pay you until 90 days. Now, if you're the type that's going to be begging for their money, like you did the work and then in 4 days after sending an invoice, you're calling accounts payable saying, "Where's my money? Here's my PO." That's your fastest way to failure. I can tell you that on all my huge accounts, my biggest accounts, they all pay very slow. And that goes into my rate. I actually like it because then I'll charge more money. And I don't have to compete against all these landscape type companies out there as electrical contractors. No offense, you know what I'm talking about. So that's the difference between the very successful electrical contractors or any contractor and the smaller, maybe fly-by-night or new guy that doesn't have the finances or resources or line of credit behind them. So when you're working for a larger company or you're bidding, you want to find out before you bid how long it's going to take for you to get paid. I remember one customer, I don't want to call anybody out, I don't call names out they were from Sayreville, New Jersey, and I never forget this. So they were so cheap, okay? They were very cheap, but they did the kind of work that I was an expert in. They worked with plastic molding and injection machines, and I have a lot of experience on maintaining those machines and wiring, installing those machines. So this was a job that was really in my wheelhouse, right? And I could remember going through all the documents and looking at all the scope of work, and I realized with this much detail of scope of work, they're getting a lot of prices from a lot of different guys. When you see scope of work so detailed on projects under $100,000, they're getting a lot of different prices. And one of the last line items that really turned me off was if you want to get paid within 30 days, you had to forfeit like a few percentage points. The quicker you wanted to get paid, there was a line item right there when you have to fill out like a questionnaire and a survey form, right, when you're doing this bidding. And if you couldn't accept the 90 days, 120 days, they penalized you by taking some percentages off, which was fine, but it just showed right away that they let people know, hey, if you want your money quicker, you're going to pay us. If you can wait, then you're going to get rewarded more. Now, I ended up not getting that job. My price was way too high, but that was just an example of what to expect when you're working for these type of companies, whether they're going to give you that top rate or not. The other thing I want to touch on real quick is using your credit card for expenses and how now at this stage in my career, I use my credit card for 100% of all my expenses. All of my insurances, all of my monthly, my electric bill, everything that I can pay on credit card is automatically paid. I have it set up so it's auto payment and I never miss a payment. Now, with supply houses, I pay net 10. In other words, once they send me, the supply house sends me their invoice for my materials, if I pay that within 10 days, I get a 2% discount. That's a lot. That is huge. Think about it. That's 24% over the course of a year if you aggregate that 2% every month. And those are the little tools and tricks that separate the landscape contractor electricians and the professional expert electricians. Now, if you can't get net 10 or a 2% discount, then you use your credit card. Why not get a rewards card? Pay the supply house with a credit card. Don't worry about opening up a line of credit with them. Use your credit card. You will increase your personal credit score You'll get a larger line of credit. You'll end up building up more credit so that when you grow and you need a bank, a line of credit from a bank, or you need bonding or anything financial, you've got some history to back it up. It says, hey, this guy's the real deal. For years, he's been using everything on his credit card, but you have to pay them off in full every month. I mean, it would be crazy if you were going to use your credit card and then pay credit card interest for that. You don't want to do that. And supply houses aren't dumb. They know the guys, the players, the big players that play with their money, where they don't pay the supply houses for 90 and 120 days, okay? You might not be at that level yet, but there's a lot of guys out here that are watching me that know that. They use the supply house as a bank, okay? Kind of like turn the tables, where we're doing the work, we're waiting for the money to come in from our customers, and yet the supply house is waiting for the money to come in from you. Now, if you're a big enough player and you make the supply house enough margin, they'll be glad to wait that amount of time, okay? Now, they will poke you now and then to get your balance down, but you're not paying any interest. Now, they do say they have late charges, but certainly they will waive those late charges for bigger players. Now, I'm not talking small guys and small jobs, right? You don't want to tick off a supply house. You need them as your ally. They all talk to each other. They all know. They all check how many zeros are in your bank account. Don't think they don't. They do. I could remember when I was first starting in my business and I had less than $10,000 in the bank, and I went to a supply house and they knew exactly what I had in the bank. And I started to get more and more work and bigger work, and I needed more credit from the supply house. And they were like, oh, well, you have low 5 figures in your account or something like that. Like, they were sarcastic. And it's true. I did. I had low 5 figures. So they know the history, and they also know the type of customer you have. So if you're working for like a Fortune 50 company, 500 company, they salivate for that. And also what they do is when you land one of these monster accounts, they'll start coming out to you. They'll dedicate a salesman to you. That salesman will come out to your site. They'll actually stock a trailer for you or help you with materials. And then they can do an audit at the end of the month and determine what you've taken. And that way you pay it. And let me tell you how this will elevate you as a top leading contractor. When you're able to have your customers' needs fulfilled in an instant without having to go to a supply house or ordering and waiting for any backup or weeks delay, there is nobody that's going to take your place. No one like me is going to be able to come in and backdoor you and take your job away, because number one, you're an expert. Number two, you're reliable. Number three, they don't worry about you, make them look good. 4, you're fully stocked. You have either a trailer on site or you have a cage on site that you can keep all the pertinent, important materials that your customer uses, and you keep it there on site, right? And even you allow the maintenance people to grab it. You know, you get the top maintenance guy that says, hey, Garrett, do you have a 8.3 MC cable, or do you have any type of connector? And you have it, and you can give them the combination. And it's just a relationship. It's a partnership. You guys are working together. And that is how you grow and become extremely successful in managing your finances as an electrical contractor. That's Garrett Henderson, and I'll see you from Hollywood, Florida.